It's a hard thing to watch a man die. The heart races and then slows as it fights to survive. The body twitches, eyes flutter as the end draws near. It's a hard thing to watch a man die, especially when it could have been prevented.
It's unconscionable that they let this human being suffer like this.
32-year-old David Stojcevski will die, and his family wants you to witness it so that it never happens again. This is not a prison camp in Afghanistan. This is a jail cell in the suburbs of Metro Detroit. Prisoners held in this unit are not given clothes for their own protection.
I guess his life didn't matter.
According to a federal lawsuit obtained by the defenders, David Stojcevski was arrested for obstruction of justice as part of a careless driving charge. According to the complaint, David could not pay the $772 fine, so he was ordered to spend 30 days in the Macomb County Jail. It turned out to be a life sentence. Over the next 17 days, he lost an alarming 50 pounds. Near the end, he was visibly thinner and no longer had the strength to call for help. During his final 2 days of life, David never got off the cold cement jail cell floor. He lay there naked and alone as he gasped his final breaths.
That could be your son or my son, and I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked to think that we are in the United States of America in a affluent suburb.
Dr. Donna Rockwell is a licensed clinical psychologist, an expert in addiction and withdrawal symptoms.
Oh, boy. It's very hard to watch.
We asked her to watch the video of David Stojcevski's in-custody death.
Wow. I can't believe anybody was in charge of looking at this video or looking at this camera and didn't do anything to help this human being.
Local 4 medical expert Dr. Frank McGeorge has been classified as an expert in in-custody death cases.
There's no reason for a person that's incarcerated who's been watched for this period of time to die in custody. He should have had medical attention.
David grew up in a modest Macomb County neighborhood, the son of immigrant bakers. He went to school, played sports, had a variety of odd jobs, but he was also troubled, addicted to drugs at a young age. According to his family's lawsuit, David was seeing a professional doctor to beat his addiction. He was prescribed by a doctor methadone, Xanax, and Klonopin. Without these prescriptions, his body would go into severe withdrawal.
It's a very obvious sign of withdrawal, and anybody who even has 2 minutes of training knows that.
Court documents say on June 10th of last year, David was rounded up as part of a sweep of Macomb County residents who had warrants out for their arrest. David, who failed to pay his traffic ticket, was thrown in jail. A nurse evaluated him and recommended he be placed in the medical drug detox unit. Instead, he went to a jail cell. 6 days later, he was acting erratic and was moved to a mental health cell and put under suicide watch. Here, his final 11 days of life will be videotaped, a video obtained exclusively by the Local 4 defenders.
People don't die from withdrawal all the time. They die from withdrawal when there's neglect associated with it.
On day 1, we see David getting medical attention and food. But as the days go on, the personal attention slows. At times, David's cellmates are seen eating his food as he sleeps. David is losing weight rapidly. We see him hiding under his bed to block the lights that stay on around the clock.
Wow. Look, it's like an animal. He's climbing underneath something to die.
David's body spasms. His muscles twitch. Our experts say clear signs of someone in withdrawal.
There you go. There's a seizure.
They tell us this is not a prisoner faking in hopes of receiving medication or a trip to the hospital.
There's not 1 second of looking at that video where I think that he might be faking. It is obvious he is not faking.
On day 8, David is acting erratic again. He gets in a fight with another inmate. The guards come and clear the others from the cell, leaving David all alone. A few minutes later, he seems to be reenacting the fight. Our experts say he is likely hallucinating, a common symptom of serious withdrawal from his prescription medications.
That's a point where someone is entering a real medical crisis, period.
David then sits, legs folded, for several hours, then lays down. He will not get up again.
I think There are so many points in this video where someone who had any humanity would look at this person and say, I better figure out whether they need help.
For the next 48+ hours, David will lay here, his body preparing to die. Guards are required to watch prisoners in this ward via security cameras and monitors. They are to take notes on the prisoner's conditions every 15 minutes. David should have been checked 96 times a day. The video shows his food went untouched on his final day as he lay on the floor, slowly dying.
He did not commit a violent crime in any sense of the word, and this is how he's being treated. Oh my God, Kevin.
David lay there on the cement floor with cameras rolling. After losing 50 pounds in 17 days, he was too weak to get up and seek help. His body convulsing, twitching, his chest cavity caving in. Fighting for his life, his breathing speeds up, then slows down.
People stop moving, their respiratory rate becomes irregular, and that's part of the dying process.
It's a hard thing to watch a man die. We don't know if guards were watching David on the monitors at this time, but when they finally do come in, it was too late. There's no audio, but the officers are seen radioing for help. A guard tries to give CPR. Then more guards appear, followed by someone who appears to be medical personnel.
And then all of a sudden, when, his life was nearing its end, the room was filled with people. Where were they? Where were they when he needed them to make sure that he stayed alive?
David is put on a stretcher and taken out of the Macomb County Jail. He will be pronounced dead at the hospital. His death certificate lists the cause of death as acute withdrawal from medications.
What kind of med check could possibly have been done? He should have been rushed to the hospital. It's unbelievable.
It's a hard thing to watch a man die. His family wants you to witness it so that it never happens again. David was not married and he did not have children. His mom and dad do live here locally, and they lived through his many troubles with his drug addiction. They did not visit him here at the Macomb County Jail, and they were not notified by the jail that he was having any medical issues during his stay. David also has a brother who was arrested in that same sweep for not paying traffic tickets. He too was brought here to the same jail. He ended up in the hospital, not the morgue. He died there, and his attorney says it never should have happened.
When somebody gets sentenced to 30 days in the county jail for a traffic violation, or pay $750 that they don't have, when they go to spend a little time in the county jail, they ought not to come out essentially on a stretcher 17 days later, 50 pounds lighter, dead.
David's brother Vladimir sat at the lawyer's side.
How could this possibly have happened?
In a lawsuit, the Stojcevski family is suing for neglect, naming the sheriff, the county, the staff, and Correct Care Solutions, the private contractor who performs medical care at the Macomb County Jail. We've heard from hundreds of people in Macomb County. They are absolutely outraged. They say it cannot happen where a guy goes into the jail for a traffic ticket and ends up dying 17 days later. They say it's unacceptable and they want answers. The county legal department has said that the jail staff met their legal requirement, but people want to hear more. Today, Mark Hackle stepped in front of the cameras. Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle watched our story on the death of David Stojcevski, who died in the custody of the Macomb County Jail after being sent there for not paying a traffic ticket. Hackle says legally the sheriff should not talk about the case because the county is being sued, but that doesn't mean county officials are not concerned about what they see.
The information that they have has to be vetted out through a court process. It's tough to look at, no question about it, and it does give quite the impression that something went wrong, and obviously something did.
Vladimir Stojcevski hurts deeply over the death of his brother David. He wears David's photo on a chain around his neck.
On the back of it, it reads, "Always in my heart."
Vladimir reaches for it often each day, especially when he thinks about what happened to his brother in the Macomb County Jail.
And this is why I have a hard time to even looking at his pictures till today, Kevin, because justice hasn't been served yet.
Vladimir knows what his brother went through because he was there too. He was also arrested for unpaid tickets, his for driving on a suspended license.
They handcuffed us both in front of neighbors and everything.
And like his brother, Vladimir was also going through withdrawal from doctor-prescribed medications. The jail has not released Vladimir's video. According to the lawsuit, Vladimir was vomiting and had diarrhea. He claims guards would not let him leave his cell to shower and clean up. He developed a serious infection and was taken to the hospital 4 days before his brother died from withdrawal.
I didn't recognize him. I didn't. He was so grayish, like gray looking. It wasn't a good sight at all. This is the last images I had of my brother, man.
This FBI investigation takes this case to a whole new level. Clearly, someone at the FBI saw something in our exclusive defender investigations that they did not like. So now they are looking at this as a possible criminal investigation. The death of 32-year-old David Stojcevski has gone from a Local 4 Defender investigation into an FBI investigation. 5 days after airing the disturbing video of David Stojcevski's death while in the custody of the Macomb County Jail, federal investigators are on the case. Robert Ihrie is the Stojcevski family attorney.
The FBI investigates matters to determine whether or not there has been a violation of federal criminal law.
A written statement from the Macomb County Sheriff's Office says the Detroit office of the FBI had inquired about the circumstances of Mr. Stojcevski's death. Sheriff Wickersham encouraged the FBI to meet with him. He provided the FBI with the complete investigation, internal investigation, and approximately 240 hours of in-cell video. The FBI is currently reviewing the case. Macomb County sources tell me the death of David Stojcevski is not the fault of sheriff's deputies or staff, and here's why. They say jail staff who were required to check on Stojcevski every 15 minutes did, and they called for medical evaluations on multiple occasions.
In a jail setting, the deputy's responsibility would be to call a medical professional, and it appears they probably did call medical professionals.
Local 4 medical expert Dr. Frank McGeorge says it's the medical staff, not the jail staff, that is best able to determine a medical emergency. Private contractor Correct Care Solutions handles medical concerns at the Macomb County Jail. You can see on video medical staff is called to check on Stojcevski 7 different times in his 10 days in the high observation ward, but never do they think he needs to go to the hospital.
There's indication that he may have been evaluated by healthcare professionals, but there's no indication that a thorough evaluation was done.
4 days before Stojcevski dies, he was taken out of the cell to see a doctor. Notes indicate the doctor thought Stojcevski was faking symptoms of a seizure and sent him back to the ward. Sheriff Tony Wickersham steps in front of cameras with a message that he stands behind his deputies.
Is that I want the residents of Macomb County to know that our office is truly committed to providing a professional service to all members of our county that they come in contact with.
Wickersham says the video death of David Stojcevski without understanding the jail process is misleading and makes his deputies look bad.
We have received many emails, letters, calls, condoning us, threatening us, telling our staff to quit.
The sheriff admits he has not watched the 240 hours of video and would not comment on why no one went into the cell to check on Stojcevski in his final 44 hours of life. He did confirm deputies were watching on video monitors and went in as Stojcevski was taking his last breaths. Well, as Mark Hackle was all fired up today defending sheriff's deputies and blaming the media, medical staff, and especially the attorney who filed the lawsuit. Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle went on the offensive, attacking the attorney for the family of David Stojcevski, saying he wanted $30 million or he would make the county look bad for Stojcevski's in-jail death.
You got an attorney out there that was out there strong-arming the county trying to get a payday as a result of the death of an individual.
Hackle insisted the media unfairly edited the 240 hours of jail video to make county employees look bad, then admitted neither him nor the sheriff have watched the full video.
Either of you guys watched the 240 hours?
No, and I need not. I need not look at that. That's what the Corporation Counsel's for.
Hackle did say deputies were watching David on video monitors and acted heroically, going in to try and save his life.
In fact, the last officer probably should be given some kind of an award because he did try to save the life of this individual.
David Stojcevski's mother and father are still mourning his loss. They say they did not want to watch his jail video death, and they did not want to be interviewed. But now they say they must.
I cry every day. I go to the cemetery every day. Nothing brings him back home.
Stephanie and Bosco Stojcevski see an unnecessary death on the video, the death of their son. They say David's rapid weight loss alone, nearly 50 pounds in 17 days, should have been enough to send him to the hospital.
This is how he died. He lost that many pounds for a short time. That's not possible. I don't believe it.
Nobody saw it, he says. Day after day, David twitching on the floor, eyes fluttering, suffering seizures. They watched our Defender investigation, and it broke their heart.
You let my son die in the jail suffering, and I don't know who's supposed to monitoring him. I see on television how he really died. He was suffering. It's so hard to watch that. And I wish no one see like that die.
The county executive and sheriff held a press conference confirming they passed their own internal investigation, saying there was no need for an independent outside agency. Just days after our story aired, the FBI launched an investigation.
I don't want people dying on the floor. I don't want people suffer.
It's been suggested that deputies who rushed in at the final moments deserve a medal for trying to save David's life. The family doesn't see it that way, asking why didn't they come sooner? It had been 44 long, grueling hours of laying on the cell floor since anyone had come into the cell to personally check David's well-being.
I don't know what to say to you. Shame on you.
Some have wondered why the parents did not pay David's $772 fine that would have prevented him from going to jail. David's mom, who works as a baker, says, looking back, they wish they had. She offered to pay her son's traffic tickets. He said no.
He was ready to go in jail and serve 30 days.
David has been to jail on several occasions, costing his parents plenty. At 32 years old, David was going to face the music for breaking the rules. They did not visit the jail either. David told them not to.
He told me, Mom, I'm gonna go and serve this, my mistake. And I'll be back home for your birthday, 4th of July. I bury my son on 4th of July. On my birthday.
They hear the whispers. If he didn't do drugs, if he paid his tickets, this would not have happened. They understand. But they do not accept death as a punishment.
Yes, they have up and downs. They have drugs, they have problems, tickets, driving. Only, I don't expect my David gonna die like that.
They don't want to fight county officials. They want peace. Peace that will only come when David's death means something.
My child is supposed to bury us, me and my husband. I don't supposed to bury child.
The family says they are extremely grateful to the FBI for investigating. They say that, more than their lawsuit, will bring change and keep people safe while in custody. Kevin Dietz, Defender.